Black people, we need to start giving these folks their energy back. The killing them with kindness, the doing right by people who are doing wrong by you, it hasn't worked. It's never worked. And not only has it not worked, but it's created a sense of entitlement in these motherfuckers think that they're entitled to our free ass labor and our fucking bodies being put on the line. It's not in our nature. Culturally, Black people throughout the whole entire diaspora on the continent, culturally, we are taught to treat people right, full stop. Not treat people right because you think they can do something for you. Not treat people right because they're higher than you in the social hierarchy. Treat people right because that's just the way you're supposed to behave. And we keep approaching everybody else in the world like that, but they're not giving us that same energy back. The nicer we treat them, the worse and worse they treat us. They see our kindness and they take it for weakness. They take it for stupidity. They take it as something to be taken advantage of. We need to give them the same disdainful energy that they constantly give us. They're evil and racist and disrespectful and nasty as fuss. Give it right the fuck back. These folks only respect when you give them their same energy back. They are not on a vibrational frequency to understand and to respect humanity, human basic kindness and respect. They don't have that vibrational frequency inside of them. They've beaten that out of themselves for generations in an aspiration to be white. This is why they're losing their minds now that we Black people have said we're going to mind our business and stay out of their business and stay off the streets. That's why they're losing their minds, because they believe that they are entitled to our free labor. They believe that Black people were created to serve them. They believe we were created to serve them so much so that they don't even have to give us an ounce of respect while demanding that servitude. Because it's just what it's supposed to be in their fucked up, racist, anti-Black, disgusting, dirty, rotten, cancer-infected minds. Killing them with kindness doesn't work. Showing them godliness doesn't work. Showing them how to treat each other like decent human beings doesn't work. Give them their nasty energy back.
It's all right to be a nice person. It's okay to look out for everybody else. It's okay to want the best for somebody else, but you also have to want what's best for you. You have to look out for yourself, because some people realize that you out here and you're nice and you'll give them the shirt off your back, and then they use that to an advantage.
People, they want you singing, dancing, protesting, voting, throwing basketballs, throwing footballs. They want you spending money at their businesses, so they always say that they support Black Lives Matter. They want you distracted and focused on Black gossip and Black drama. They want you implicit and contributing to the things that keeps our community in shambles, like music that degrades our women, music that keeps our men in the prison system, music that keeps violence going in our community, false narratives and stereotypes that keep Black women and Black men divided from each other. The second you start advocating for all of that to end and for Black economic independence, that's when they want you to be silent. I won't stop telling us to keep focusing on creating Black-owned independence, creating a Black future, creating our own Black nation. Black people, our grandparents were not pro-integration. They were pro-separation. Stop letting white people lie to you about our history. And they were better off when they were away from others because they understood the importance of doing for self. It's time we get back to that.
Well, they say an eye for an eye would make the world blind. But sometimes there comes a time when fire begets fire. And let me say something clearly. If there's any group of people who almost never get their flowers, it's Black people, and especially Black Americans. For all they have given for America and even to the rest of the world, hardly is ever there anybody who stops by to say, thank you for everything. Thank you for making America accessible even to other people. But the world is flooded with images of the ghetto, drugs, crime, poverty, as if that is the totality of Black people. And also notice that that's the same case when they want to portray Africa. Malnourished kids, people living in bush-like structures. And who aren't you if you think that is accidental? It is deliberate. What they show you are the consequences, the results, the outcomes. But they never give you the full story, the backstory. They never give you the context of how things became to be, They erase inventions, the sacrifices, the labor, the blood of Black people who poured into building America and building the world, while turning survival under oppression to look like it is a character flaw of Black people. Isn't that funny? And now when Black people finally say enough is enough, suddenly it's seen as aggression. We have to talk about this.
Don't let them divide us. We have no allies. I am only voting for foundational Black Americans. These are some comments that were put on a recent video that I did about Somali leaders and their F around and find out. And I think that some of these comments are put there in good faith, but I also think that I feel like I have a different perspective. This video is going to be geared more toward the Black community and the mindset that we sometimes have to wrestle with between being understanding and accepting and not taking any more crap. It is a delicate line that we have always had to play because our feelings and our passion is always viewed as victimhood or aggression, leading to them being able to speak about the reaction rather than the cause. So I want to address some of these comments and give my own candid perspective. Starting with, don't let them divide us. Some people may think that calling other communities out on their BS is letting the racists and the bigots divide us. But the thing is, we're already divided, which is why we're calling them out on their BS. Just because you don't acknowledge something doesn't mean it's not already happening. The divide was already there, especially when you're talking about a community like the Somali community, who many of whom in the United States don't view themselves as a part of the Black community. Not all, but many, and enough to be able to make an impact. Colorism and white supremacy also goes throughout the other communities as well, the Hispanic community as well as the Black community. And I think that everybody who is guilty of that needs to be called out in kind. As much as they are trying to erase history, the Black community will never forget our contributions to this country and the people of color that live here and thrive here more than we do because of our contributions. Everyone loves to emulate our culture, our manners of speaking, our music, our dance, our food. But that's where the buck stops. In many cases, while emulating our culture, they denounce our people. And Black people are just not going to continue taking that amount of disrespect. We have given too much and have tried so hard to not only be accepting, but to make sure that not only do we have rights, but everyone else as well. We are the demographic that votes for the good of everyone, even for the good of people who don't like or respect us. And calling people out on their BS does not divide us because the division was already there and those things need to be called out. Another comment I got was that I was being too harsh on the Somali community because they are indoctrinated and ignorant. Willful ignorance is not an excuse. Google is free. Research is free. And sometimes people make a conscious decision to try to make themselves feel of a higher class by pushing down on the Black community. If your hair is straight, if your nose is thin, all of these white supremacist beauty standards that make you think that you're better than us. We see it in many other communities. This proximity to whiteness that makes people turn against the Black community because they think it is going to get them a leg up. Ignorance and indoctrination is not an excuse for hatred for a community that never hurt you. Now, a comment that I got often was that we have no allies, talking about the Black community. Even though I understand this sentiment, and stories come out all the time about people who impersonate our culture while also denying and rejecting our people, it's exhausting and it's isolating and it makes you feel as if there are no allies. And in truth, there is no other race that you can say is a staunch ally of the Black community. But that doesn't mean we don't have allies within the individuals within those races. I see in my comments all the time in my videos, people that are not Black, that are here for the cause, that are marching in the streets, that are making videos and going to bat for the Black community. Where I grew up in Durham, North Carolina, my friend group was completely diverse. And to this day, 30 plus years later, I have been friends with these people, many of whom are non-Black, many of whom who would go to bat for the Black community. Black people were not the only ones who marched during the Civil Rights Movement. Black people were not the only ones who fought in the Civil War. We have allies. There are masses of individuals who are there for the Black community. And even though it seems isolating because people of those same demographics will show their butt and we get betrayed all the time by people who we thought were in our corner and it comes out that they are not. We are surprised all the time by the Sylvester Stallones of the world, the Sydney Sweeneys, people you thought were cool, and then all of a sudden they do something to show their true colors. It happens to us more than anyone else, and it is exhausting. I don't think people understand the mental toll and the constant mental strength that Black people have to build up just to be Black and thrive in this country. Many of us are numb to things that would send others into a tailspin. So no, there is no racial group that has our back no matter what. Every other racial group seems to try their best to assimilate to whiteness. But the important thing to remember is that there are masses of individuals within those groups who are indeed allies, and we should not isolate them just because we feel isolated. Now, I got a few comments also that said that they're only going to vote for foundational Black Americans for political office. While I definitely think that if there is a Black person running, we should research them and figure out what they're about. And if they are down for the cause, and if they are good for the community, definitely put them into those offices. However, as we have seen in North Carolina and in Georgia, not all skin folk is kinfolk. Even some foundational Black Americans are not on the right side of history. We can't be black and white when it comes to our choices for political office. We have to look at what they say. We have to look at what their records are. We can't just see a Black person and say, they got my vote, because they may not have our best interests at heart, even on the Democratic side. If we start doing that and start making that our litmus test, we set ourselves up to be tricked by Trojan horses. Their policies are what matter. I don't care if they are Black, white, Muslim, Asian, Hispanic, Native, I don't care. Are you speaking my language? Are you talking about policies that are actually going to help everyone? That's what I want to focus on. Focus on the research of who these people are, no matter who they are, and base your voting decisions off that. I don't even vote based off of name recognition. I don't care if you've been in politics for 20 years. And this other person challenging you just came out of a third grade classroom. I don't care. If the person who came out of the third grade classroom is speaking more sense than the career politician who has been in there since the 1990s, I'm going with the third grade classroom person. Smart political choices during the primaries, that is the big thing as well. During the primaries is what is going to make the biggest impact. So anyone of the Black community who is independent and it makes it so you can't vote in the primaries in your state, you need to register as something where you can make an impact in the primaries, because the primaries are where the real people are, the real people who want to be in office to actually help people. They are in the primaries. And if you can't vote in the primaries, then you can't help them get to where they need to go in the general. It amazes me how many people complain about the choices that they have in general elections when they never actually contributed to making that choice. And we need to start making good policy choices, because a lot of the policies that are being enacted now are affecting the Black community. 300,000 Black women are out of work. An unknown amount of people cannot seek justice in civil rights cases because there is no civil rights division in the Justice Department anymore. Segregation is now legal again. Not socially accepted yet, but it's only a matter of time with the rhetoric that is coming out. The dismantling of civil rights protections, as well as all of this hateful rhetoric coming out, really makes it so we need to keep our heads on a swivel and pay attention to everything inside our community and out of it. Lastly, I got a comment that asked, what should the Black community be doing right now? We all know we're not getting out into those streets. And we all know that protesting with our wallets has been making an impact. But in addition to that, building up our finances and our financial literacy should be a huge goal. Making smart financial decisions, supporting Black businesses, continue to speak out and call people on their BS, continue educating ourselves and our children, continue protesting with your wallet, and supporting companies that support you. And yes, voting in primaries in every election. Stay active and informed, and don't fall for the doom and gloom. This community has been through so much. What America is going through right now is just a more massive scale of the things that have been happening to us for hundreds of years. But even with all of that, we have been pulling ourselves up, and with every setback, we leap forward. So don't fall for the doom and gloom of despair. I'll speak for myself when I say that I feel we are more united now than we ever have been in my lifetime. And I take heart in that. And I believe in our strength and our perseverance and our kind-hearted and accepting nature. But I also believe Black people are done taking disrespect from anybody else. We're done.
Other races don't respect us. The other races, they don't respect us. people don't respect black people. They don't respect you. They don't listen to you. They barely take your words into consideration. They think you guys are a joke. They think black people are jokes. And can I tell you something? I think I get it. I know why they think you're jokes. Because you guys have this, you guys are just weird. Like, to be honest, it's not even weird. Weird is not the right word. It's just, it's like backwards. It's giving backwards. You guys are just like, it's giving backwards. Like, you're not up to date with how things are. You just don't get it anymore. You don't get it. And the way you behave, it's so ugly. The way a lot of black people behave is too ugly. It's so ugly the way you guys behave. It's ugly.
Black people are so forgiving when it comes to everybody except themselves. We'll forgive our enemies. We'll forgive our oppressors. We'll forgive the same people who built systems to destroy us. But when it comes to our own, we show no mercy. We'll defend outsiders harder than we defend each other. We'll defend brands, celebrities, and politicians that don't even like us. But let your own people mess up once, and you're first in line to drag them, expose them, and throw them away. We move like we hate each other more than the people who taught us to hate ourselves. That's how they conditioned us. That ain't no coincidence. They trained you to forgive them so you'd never unite with us. They made you to believe that being the bigger person meant to let people walk all over you as long as they ain't black. But when it comes to your own people, you got no grace, no patience, no understanding. You treat your own reflection like the enemy. You will pray for your oppressors, but you will gossip about your brother. You will give outsiders 10 chances, but you will cut your sister off after making one mistake. But that's what centuries of brainwashing does. It'll make you fight the mirror while smiling at the monster.
So the situation between ethnic Black Americans and foreigners is just a classic case of taking kindness as a weakness. When the foreigners first came to America, we were very clear that we knew our civil rights movement had helped them get over there, and we were proud of that. We were proud that we gave people, Asians, Hispanics, and Africans and Caribbeans. We were proud that we were able to create an escape route for them in America. We took pride in that. That's why we were at one point, very Pan-African, myself included. That we were able to create a vehicle that allowed people from these other countries to escape white supremacy and come here. However, when they moved into our neighborhoods, we didn't say anything, because they were poorest neighborhoods, and our people shared their limited resources with them. We supported them, as you know, the African braid shops, and we would go to eat, Hispanic food. We would shop with the Asian community. We definitely supported, because we knew what it was like to not to come from another country, but we knew what it was like to, we just had compassion for people who are trying to figure stuff out, It took us a long time, unfortunately. Some of us already knew it, because I remember growing up and some of my friends already knew how they were. And I used to be like, well, no, not really, not all of them, and stuff like that, and how they would talk and how they would treat and talk about us. And also, I had a lot of friends from other communities that just were way more educated and knowledgeable and weren't so ignorant. So at the same time, my friends were not ignorant, and they knew how much the ethnic Black Americans had done for them in this country, and they had respect. So that's another reason why I didn't see it. But now it took us like about 60 something years to figure this out, and it's too late. What I mean is, like, I see the videos of foreigners trying to say, oh, we should respect, it's slowly changing, because now they're seeing how much power we actually have, how much this is actually our country, how much that we weren't weak, we just were nice and kind, and we just were the only people in this country that didn't treat them like ish. and we were a buffer between white supremacy and them, but they chose white supremacy over us. So they took our kindness as a weakness. They took the fact that we did not say anything when they came into our communities as a weakness. And they were in our same poor communities, and the middle class ethnic Black Americans and the other upper class ethnic Black Americans did not want them in their communities. Nobody else would take Hispanics, or nobody else would allow Hispanics or Africans or Caribbeans into their community. Nobody else but us. And they thought, again, they mistakenly thought, erroneously that, white men must have told them that we had to be here. No, we just weren't. We were the only ones that weren't protesting and pushing you out and threatening your life. And our poorest people share their limited resources with immigrants. Then they set up the Asians. The white people wouldn't let the Asians set up in their communities, and they said, go to the Black communities and set up shop. And the Black communities said, okay, we'll shop with the Asians. Not because we didn't have any choice, because again, you guys keep thinking, white people were just made you do it because white people make y'all do it in your countries. No, because we had compassion and we understood. We were like, all right, we know that they're not going to let them, stay in their communities, and, we'll shop here. And that has a lot to do with also loans and business loans that we weren't getting. But it was also because we weren't tripping. We weren't tripping. We were compassionate, kind people generally speaking. Of course, you always have people in your community that are on some BS. But generally speaking, we were kind and compassionate. We let you into our schools when no other schools really wanted to take you. Our HBCUs opened up their doors. We opened up our neighborhoods. We opened our HBCUs, and you thought again, well, we just have to. They have to let us in. No, we just didn't push back. We didn't protest. We didn't tell our councilmen that we don't want you here. Maybe a few of us did, but most of us didn't. We didn't put pressure on our councilmen. We didn't put pressure on our politicians. We didn't put pressure on our schools to say we don't want them in, like white supremacists put pressure on their people to say we don't want them around. We didn't threaten to burn up your homes or threaten you and tell you that you can't stay in our neighborhood and surround your house like those people in the white communities did when you try to move in there when you first came to this country. We didn't do that. We could have, but we didn't. But you took our kindness and you took us understanding and our compassion for weakness. And we're God's children, and God didn't like it. This is karma. I just want y'all to understand, this is a karmic debt that you had to pay now. It's karma. It's karma. Whenever you smiled in our face and pretended to be cool because you needed something or you didn't want us to know, and then you went in the car and called us names and talked bad about us and talked bad about our community, while you just smiled in our face and, got us to break bread with you or whatever. We bought food from you and you went into your cars or went behind the counter and started talking about us in a different language. Our God heard you. And he knew how much suffering and what we did and how much we had helped you get here. And our God does not like it. Our God does not like it. Our ancestors don't like it. The spirit world does not like it. We're not being nice anymore. And the thing is that I'm not even happy about it because I don't like to see people suffer. But what we're not going to do is pretend like this isn't a karmic debt that you have to pay. You started it. You thought we were just nice, and you took on the mindset of a colonizer.
All right. So when it comes to Black people, the focus is never on the origins. It's only on the results, on the outcomes. Poverty is shown, but not redlining. Crime is highlighted, but not mass incarceration policies, not the unfair criminal justice system. COINTELPRO, the war on drugs, the deliberate destruction of Black economic structures, the story is always framed in a way that makes Black suffering as a choice by black people or self-inflicted, you know? And here's the trick. The moment black people speak on these realities, they begin to call out these problems. It is labeled as complaining. And that word is not neutral. It is a silencing tool. It is a way to silence. It is designed to make black people second guess on their own experiences and stop speaking about them altogether. Silence is usually the goal here. So this is also why black kindness is constantly mistaken for weakness. You know, for generations, black Americans have responded with patience, forgiveness, and of course, unmistakably resilience. Yet the restraint from black people has been weaponized against them. And now that more and more black people are matching the energy, setting boundaries, and saying no more, it's suddenly framed as dangerous and divisive, you know, and aggressive. And this particular pattern doesn't just stop in America. If you observe keenly, it extends across the entire black diaspora. Look at Africa, for example. Africans are known globally for hospitality and openness and generosity. And what has that kindness produced? Colonialism, resource and you know, mineral theft, manufactured conflicts, and even today, wars conveniently erupt in mineral-rich places. Do you suddenly realize there's a pattern? When a place is so rich in minerals like the Congo, then the war never ends. In Sudan, the war never ends. You know, the coincidence that only mineral rich places are also rich in conflict. And yet, even with that conflict, extraction never pauses. Amidst, even during the chaos, everyone is rushing to Africa to take, but almost always, no one is coming to Africa, you know, to build or to say thank you for all this that we have stolen, that we benefit from. So the question becomes, why is Africa always unstable, but still profitable for everyone else? The answer is in the same agenda. Take resources, control narratives, destabilize unity, then blame the victim. You know, that's the book. That's the oldest trick in the book. Over time, this propaganda has actually done something far more dangerous, you know, to all of the black people. It has made black people internalize the lie and self-hate, colorism, proximity to whiteness being treated as the beauty standard, intelligence or success, you know, Eurocentric culture being sold as the standard, while black identity is portrayed as something to run from. Credit to the black Americans, because they're the people who I see they've really turned the story on its head, and now they're saying it's our culture first, and everybody else is copying their culture, you know. And all of these Eurocentric ways of life, they're not accidental either. So when black Americans push back, when Africans start saying we are done being exploited, when black people globally decide to return the same energy they have been given or they have received, that's not hatred. It's self-respect. It's correction. And that's, to me, long overdue. Yeah, because flowers should not only be given after death, after destruction, after, you know, exhaustion, after exploitation. And black people, they're done waiting. It's time, from my perspective, as the sister in this video has been saying, it's time to pay back the same energy, you know, they give. Yeah, so I don't know what you think about this and what we're talking about in this video. Do share with me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and share this video and subscribe to the channel if you like these kind of videos. And I'll see you in the next video.